Hi, Eagles fans. This is Joe coming to you from the Mexico Eagles chat. Tonight's a big game with the Giants, but I want to recap a little bit of the Broncos game from Sunday. Um, Birds looked pretty good there for a while in the first quarter. Defense was playing well. However, there still is some things about Hurts that I'm concerned about. Sometimes his timing's off on some of his throws. Um, there's the much publicized meeting that took place this week, so hopefully that will take care of some of that. Um, But when the offense isn't moving the ball in the second half, defense is going to get tired. So it's hard for me to blame Vic with the defense wearing out in the second half against the Broncos. Plus, I have read where Sean Payton seems to have Vic Fangio's number over the years. Plus, he worked at Vic and New Orleans, with the whole dome patrol. So there were some concerns there. The Birds are 4-1. I don't see them losing this week to the Giants. We know that the Birds have a big advantage in quarterback there. Vic's going to come after Jackson Dart, put the rookie under pressure. I am a Dart fan. I think he's got a lot of potential, but as we've seen with some of the other ones I've been a fan of, they haven't really panned out. So I am concerned about that. I'm concerned about us losing offensive linemen as well. I think that's been part of the issue this season as well. Landon got hurt. Um, Johnson got hurt against Denver. They were in and out. So, and then Lane was out most of the second half. So I think a lot of things beyond play calling, beyond Patullo is what's ailing the Eagles right now. Hopefully some things can get fixed either with this short week or with the longer bye, basically a mini bye week this week, having 10 days off. Um, but I think the Birds can come around and win this one. Um, but we're seeing now that the lack of offensive line depth is really hurting them. Since there's injuries on both sides of the offensive line. I've never been a huge Steen fan. I know he's been in and out of the lineup as well. Um, the only rock steady has been Cam Jurgens, and he's been inconsistent in his blocking. So I think there's a lot going on. So let's break down the Giants game tonight. Quarterback advantage, like I said, goes to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts over Jackson Dart. Dart's got a lot of potential. His best weapon is out, Malik Neighbors. I think that's going to make things a little bit easier on the Eagles secondary. I think we could see the team rise up. So the Eagles have a big advantage at receiver as well, with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. But I did see Calcaterra's out. So Goddard's going to have to play a little bit more tonight, probably than usual. So, as long as he doesn't break some more glass and get injured, I could see him coming around and playing well tonight, having a big game. I could see Barkley having a big game. The Eagles have shown they've been able to run on the Giants. The Giants have given up a ton of rushing yards this season. Um, Even with Dallas having three offensive linemen out, they were running all over the Jets. They ran on the Giants. Um, so I can see, the Eagles getting the running game going tonight. Maybe that's part of that chat they all have, and hopefully they brought Patullo into it. Um, when Barkley has a carry in the Broncos game for 18 yards and only ends up with 30 and five more carries, so there's a problem there. Um, I really think, the running game gets going tonight. Defensive wise, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Jackson Dart. The Eagles are going to get after him. The corners should be able to step up and play pretty well tonight, even if it's Bennett or Dory Jackson on that other side, um, opposite Q. And, linebacker wise, Eagles certainly have an advantage there. And plus, they're getting healthier there. We're going to see, you know, hopefully a few more guys back come in the coming weeks. Um, I would probably reduce Carter's load tonight, unless Eagles really need to get after Dart, and then let him rest the next 10 days before next week. Um, so that's pretty much there. I don't know what you guys are thinking about the Eagle season right now. I'm not terribly optimistic until we get these offensive woes, worked out. Um, I think some of this is just, Patullo didn't get a chance to call plays in the preseason with his regular starters. And I think that that's hurts the Eagles at the beginning of every season. But, I think that they're going to come around tonight, and this is where we get off the schneid offensively. We put together a complete game and take care of the Giants. That's all I have for tonight. You guys have a great day. Hopefully, we cheer on an Eagles victory after tonight.